liftoff and the clock has started.
Welcome to episode 6 of the Tesla Time podcast, the UK Tesla Unofficial Podcast. I'm your host Joe Winter, and on this week's show, the Model Y lands in Europe for the very first time. Tesla dominates a very interesting race, Elon has his day in court, and Samsung hop inside the CyberTruck, along with much more. Stick with me because it's that time again. Oh, it's Tesla time. Tesla time indeed. It's Friday the 16th of July. As I'm recording this now, it's late evening. We're winding down for the weekend. I've got myself a little, I was going to say a glass of wine, but actually what I've got here is a decaf tea. Because you might be able to tell I'm a little bit bunged up at the moment, which I do apologise about. But spirits are still high and we've got a whole load of Tesla news to get through, so we will crack on. Actually, before I do, some weird things happened to me this week in terms of me and my Tesla. I've got squeaky wheels. I don't really know what it's all about, but recently, especially as the weather's been getting hotter here in the south coast of the UK, my wheels have started to make this like squeaking, like creaking noise, almost like a wet wood creak, if that kind of makes sense. So I noticed it when I had the windows down, and actually it's there, you know, at whatever speed, but it's most apparent at lower speed. So I've raised a service request on the Tesla app. And sure enough, I have an appointment on Thursday. I've already spoken to the technician who kind of knows it's something to do with the suspension or something. He knows what to do and he's booked me in. So that should be good. So next week I will let you know how I get on with that. Anyway, enough about me. Let's talk Tesla. Let's jump straight into the headlines. And the first headline this week is the big one. Tesla Model Y begins delivering in Europe. This is, for me and the UK related podcast, this is obviously, I have a huge listener base in Europe in particular. So this is huge news. Now, before we jump into this, I know that most of my listeners are from the UK. And let me stress off the bat here, the Model Y is not available in the UK right here, right now as I record this. However, orders have officially opened up elsewhere in Europe, and I'm assuming that Tesla are going to hold fast and hold off until Giga Berlin, till they start providing Model Ys in the remaining countries in Europe. So, as it stands today, the following countries are showing the Model Y as available to order online, and those countries are Belgium, Czech Republic, Denmark, Germany, Greece, Spain, France, Croatia, Iceland, Italy, Luxembourg, Hungary, Netherlands, Norway, Austria, Poland, Portugal, Slovenia, Switzerland, Sweden, and Finland. So, as best I can tell, Romania, UK, and Ireland seem to be the big hitters kind of missing off this list right now. Now, that is a shame, to not see UK, Ireland and Romania, but to see, these cars out on public roads in Europe is going to be fantastic. And it's just that one step closer to Tesla dominance in Europe, which I'm sure we will see. Now, the Model Y shipping into the European countries mentioned are coming from Giga Shanghai. So these are the China-made Model Ys. Now, that's actually a really good thing. And it's a good thing for two reasons. Number one, they have overall, they have a better quality assurance and quality control ratings across the board. That's probably mainly down to the fact that simply the Shanghai Gigafactory is more state-of-the-art. It's more modern, it's more in keeping with the times, and therefore we're seeing that through QA and QC ratings. By the way, the China-made Model 3 has the same ratings as well. They're slightly better than the ones coming out of Fremont. And the second reason why this is great that we're getting the China-made Model Ys is these Model Ys are going to come with HEPA filters. They are going to include the HEPA filters inside them as they roll off the production line. Now, what does this mean? Well, the HEPA filter gives you the access to bioweapon defense mode. And okay, you're probably thinking, what on earth is Joe talking about here if you've never heard of bioweapon defense mode? Well, who better to tell you about this than Elon himself? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play you a clip. Here's Elon at the Model X launch event where the HEPA filtration system was first revealed. Take a listen to this.
And now let's take a look at the filters themselves. I want to show you just how much of a difference this is. The top one is our primary air filter. The one on the left and the bottom is our secondary air filter. The one on the right is a normal car air filter. I think we've got some of those here. So this is what a normal car filter looks like. It's really quite small. This is the primary air filter of the Model X, and this is the secondary air filter. Our secondary air filter is bigger than the primary air filter of a typical car. So not only is it 10 times larger area, but the quality of the filter is greater. So that translates to a several hundred-fold improvement in the filtration capability. In fact, when the car is operating at its at maximum capability, so if you sort of press max capability in the car, we can't even detect any viruses or bacteria or spores. So it's like zero come through. So if there's ever sort of a apocalyptic scenario of some kind, hypothetically, you just press the bioweapon defense mode button. This is a real button. So what? We're trying to be a leader in apocalyptic defense scenarios.
I really miss those indoor, close proximity events. They seem like a distant memory now, but the atmosphere at these shows was always fantastic. Now, that presentation was given over 5 years ago, so that was back at the launch of the Model X. Now, I am completely aware that there's this dark irony in him talking about bacteria and spores and us now listening to that in a post-COVID world, and I completely understand that. And I hope that it wasn't, it didn't come across as, a bit tasteless. But I think it's really important because of a few reasons, really. The reason why I wanted to play that is, number one, this shows that Tesla are doing a great job of pulling down features and functionalities from their high-end cars, the Model S's and UX's, and pulling it down into their more affordable range, in this case, the Model Y, but also the Model 3, right? So the reason why this is really important is because Elon will talk about the Model X as the Fabergé egg of their range of vehicles. It's the car that can do everything. It's quick, it's efficient, it's practical, it's got a filtration system that's better than anything we've ever seen. It's got doors that are cleverer than any doors we've ever seen. It does a whole bunch of things that it doesn't need to do, but it does it just to show that it can. So to see those, the HEPA filtration system filtering down, pardon the pun, into the Model Y is amazing. And then to see that on our streets in Europe is going to be awesome. And by the way, just go on YouTube if you're interested and take a look at some of the testing that they've done around this bioweapon defense mode, because it's really interesting because they get like this big silicon dome structure, right? And they fill this huge bubble. They fill it with, effectively, they pollute it as much as they can with carbon and, I don't know, all sorts of chemicals and rubbish, right? The air in there is really unhealthy, really horrible. And they park a Tesla Model X, or in this case Model Y, in the middle of it. They crank on bioweapon defense mode, turn the aircon on, and basically there's people in the car measuring, the readings on the recording equipment that they have around the air quality. And nothing phases it. It doesn't even change. It's 0.0. It is incredible. It really is incredible. Now, moving on slightly from this, what does this mean about Giga Berlin? I mentioned at the start there, does this mean that Giga Berlin is falling behind? And therefore Tesla are just thinking, right, let's just plow the Model Y into as many, European regions as we can but via other means, perhaps. And the latest official Tesla update on Giga Berlin's progress remains the following, quote, "In Europe, build out of Giga Berlin is continuing to move forward, with production and deliveries maintaining on track for late 2021. Machinery for paint, stamping, castings, etc. continue to be moved into the building. In the meantime, we will continue to increase import volumes into Europe," end quote. And I've got to say, I really hope that this isn't a sign that Giga Berlin is further back than we think. Although, I must say this week it was announced that the Q2 earnings call will take place on Monday the 26th of July. So what's that? A couple of weeks from now. And this is usually a really kind of great place to get an update on global gigafactories and production estimates, you know, all over the globe and moving forward. So stay tuned for more information on that. In fact, what would that be? That would be episode 8 of the Tesla Time podcast. We'll cover the earnings call, and I'll be, you know, cutting it all up and clipping it, so you'll be able to hear everything that Tesla have got to say. So looking forward to that. Next up this week, Elon Musk rather hates being Tesla boss. First and foremost, this is a Tesla podcast, okay? And at its very core, it's a celebration of the product that is Tesla, right? The products that Tesla make and offers to the market. I kind of therefore try not to make the show all about Elon, you know, and following him on, you know, any legal pursuits or any, how can I put it, any kind of news around Tesla outside of Tesla. I just think like there's other media channels you can get that from. But it would be naive of me not to mention the fact that Elon has spent this week in court. The case that's being disputed at the moment is all around this, you know, legitimacy of Tesla's investment into a company called SolarCity, which is a solar panel manufacturer. And I'm not going to get into the details around what it is and why it's going on and who's winning and all that stuff. And by the way, side note, Tesla, please bring solar roof canopies to the UK superchargers. They have them in LA where it never rains. But UK Tesla owners will know when you pull up at a supercharger and it's chucking it down with rain, that charge port at the back of your car feels like a million miles away. Anyway, back to this article. So this comes in via BBC News Post, which says, quote, "Elon Musk has revealed that he does not enjoy being the boss of Tesla. Quote, I rather hate it and I would much prefer to spend my time on design and engineering, he told a US court," end quote. Now, to be honest with you, this doesn't really surprise me at all. You know, Elon Musk firstly often talks about his workload, the fact he sleeps for 5 hours a night if he's lucky, the fact he runs multiple companies, the fact his workload is just so high, and it's not necessarily, you know, the glitz and glamour that the likes of Forbes like to make it out to be. And I actually remember, and any Joe Rogan fans will know what I'm talking about here, but I remember the first interview Elon did on the Joe Rogan podcast, which is this long form interview podcast. It's like they're like 3-hour conversations rather than interviews, really. And the first time Elon was on the show, this was about 2 years ago now, maybe longer actually, Elon actually said, "I don't think you'd necessarily want to be me." And that's a quote, and that's verbatim, because I remember him saying that. And I've just found that such a powerful message. Elon has talked about, you know, how he's keen to promote the opportunity for creators and inventors and big thinkers to run companies, and not necessarily your traditional business suit people. You know, he is always behind the creator, the inventor. And again, he emphasizes how the product is what's important. And I can imagine he sees the politics, the red tape, the bureaucracy. I know he's talked about bureaucracy in Germany around Giga Berlin. I can imagine he sees this as like an unfortunate noise. And Elon's, you know, his history and his background is in designing, inventing. He wants to be designing and inventing. In fact, inside the Delaware court this week, he went on to say, quote, "I would much prefer to spend my time on design and engineering, which is what I intrinsically like doing," end quote. However, when you read these articles, because they are kind of splattered all over the tabloids at the moment, I wouldn't urgently panic about the idea of an Elon-less Tesla. You know, a Tesla without Elon. You know, is Elon going to be there forever? No, but I think he's going to be there for a long time still. And, you know, Elon speaks his mind. And some news outlets are suggesting that this might be the beginning of the end for Elon and Tesla. And I think that's hyperbolic. But I'm not going to cover the court proceedings in much more detail here. But, you know, you're going to see, if you're a Tesla fan and Tesla's on your news feed in whatever platform you use, you're going to see this stuff come up. And I guess the message here is not to panic. Like, Elon will often talk about his stress and the strain of running these companies and how he probably spends way too much time in red tape and politics and not enough time in designing. Let's not panic, and let's continue to support Tesla and Elon however we can. Next up this week, Tesla absolutely dominate the EV 1000 race for 2021. This article comes to us from Forbes. And before I jump into Tesla's performance here, let me just give you a caveat on, you know, what this race is all about. So this wasn't on a track, so, you know, top speed is not a key consideration. But what this is, the EV 1000 race, is a real world 4-state road trip in the US intended to benchmark the state of EV technology and the nation's charging infrastructure by road tripping EVs beyond the range of a single charge. Now, Tesla were awarded first place, second place, and third place. So all three of their car entries into this race hit the podium, basically, which is incredible. Now, what's really cool about the race is it's all about how good is the charging infrastructure and how long can different EVs go before recharging. So, you know, it's not necessarily scientific. Like if your car candidate pulls up to a charger which is broken, it's not like, oh, pause the race. You know, that's just part of living with an EV. You know, you have to take that into account, and that's it. So, you know, you could get really unlucky, or vice versa. You could be really lucky. But the fact that Tesla take up first, second, and third, you kind of go, okay, this isn't luck. So, obviously, the key factors here are the longer you can go before recharging is obviously going to be better. The quicker you can charge is going to be better. And whoever's got fast charging infrastructure deployed is going to have an advantage, brackets Tesla. So if I give you the top-down list on who won the race. So the winner of the race was the Tesla Model S Long Range Plus. So that's the 2020 version. Second place was the Tesla Model Y Performance. Third place was the Tesla Model 3 Performance. And then it went from fourth down, it went Ford Mustang Mach-E, Porsche Taycan, Kia Niro, Audi e-tron, Volkswagen ID4, Volvo XC40, Polestar 2, and then in 11th place was the Nissan Leaf. So I think, you know, this, you know, I don't think it's a surprise that Tesla dominated this. I think maybe, you know, for them to get first, second, and third, everyone's playing catch up with Tesla. We know that. But I would have liked to have seen, you know, especially in the Nissan Leaf, I would have liked to have seen cars that have been, you know, car manufacturers that have been developing EVs for a long time now. You know, I'd like to see them getting a lot closer to Tesla's records in these kind of things. And this is really important because this is what people want to know. Like, it's all well and good that your Model S can go 0 to 60 in 1.9 seconds. That's great. But like I said last week, the guy that stopped me at the charger, you know, how long does it take to charge? Can I get from, I've got family over in such and such, can I get over there in a charge? How do I charge it when I'm there? You know, it's these questions that people have that Tesla and other EV manufacturers are constantly trying to quell their concerns. So from a Tesla standpoint, this is fantastic, and this leaderboard shows complete dominance of the electric vehicle industry from a Tesla perspective. And finally this week, Samsung are hopping into the Cybertruck. This was a report that came out just a couple of days ago saying Samsung was known to have won a $435 million deal to supply camera modules to the largest US EV manufacturer. The company plans to launch a new EV which gives drivers a rear view through a camera equipped on the car, as the model does not have side mirrors. The EV has more than 8 cameras for full self-driving purposes, end quote. So this article actually never says Tesla, right? Officially, it's not saying Tesla, but by saying the largest US EV maker, I think it's pretty obvious. It also doesn't say CyberTruck. But again, saying the fact that this, the new model, which won't have side view mirrors, which we know the Cybertruck as it stands doesn't, that's what this suggests. Now, this is great to see, huge developers in the IT and technology industry, such as Samsung. We've seen it with batteries, but also with Panasonic, but now we're seeing it in the camera world as well, jumping into partnership with Tesla because they can see the ramping success that Tesla are seeing. Now, my view on the side mirror thing has changed. So basically what this is saying is, our cars today have 8 cameras, right? They have 1 on the inside and then 7 around the outside of the vehicle that help with full self-driving capabilities, keeping you in lane and all that stuff, right? What this article basically says is this new model, which we know to be the Cybertruck, is going to have more cameras because it doesn't have side mirrors. So you're going to start to have cameras in the back. We know that there's a camera in the front. We've seen that on the car that the Cybertruck that Elon Musk drove around New York City. Assuming that camera it's in the bottom of the front bumper. So we're kind of assuming that that's going to be looking at terrain and stuff and helping you park such a behemoth of a vehicle. But also there's going to be cameras down the side, more cameras which are going to replace your wing mirrors. Now, I kind of want to reserve judgment. Naturally I want to say here that I don't like this. I understand the benefits of getting rid of side view mirrors. The car looks sick. The drag coefficient increases. I get all of that. And I've seen mock-ups of the Cybertruck with side view mirrors and it doesn't look that great. I get it. However, I don't know, just looking at a screen to tell you, if there's something in your blind spot, or just kind of judging how far away something is, or if you're reversing round a corner or something. I don't know. I just don't feel, this is just my personal opinion, and I think this is probably objective, but I'll use my reverse camera, for example, as a further assistance, rather than I'll just use that to park. I'll look out the windows and I'll use the mirrors as kind of my first go-to, and then I'll use the cameras as further assistance. So I'm not sure I'm a massive fan of this, but horses for courses, and I think the Cybertruck, it has to reduce its drag coefficient as much as possible because obviously it's ginormous. So any gain it can get is one worth taking. Whilst we're on news around the Cybertruck, by the way, Elon tweeted this week to confirm that the Cybertruck will not have door handles and that the car doors will actually open as you approach, which again seems really cool, but let's hold judgment until people have got their hands on it. Tesla have been doing this, they've been doing this since day one, but they've been doing it a lot recently with the yoke and getting rid of the top of the steering wheel, getting rid of stalks, getting rid of gear shift so you can't shift your gear. They will get rid of things if they think it makes it sleeker, smoother, easier, better, and in a lot of cases it does. It works really well. In a lot of cases it's there's a learning curve. But I think for all these news and rumours that we're hearing around the Cybertruck, around wing view mirrors via cameras and doors that open themselves with no door handles, let's just wait and see. People are blown away that I don't have a key for my Tesla. How can you not have a key? Does it work every time? Are you sure? But then, once they get in it, once they use it for a day or so, they just think, oh God, carrying around a big chunky, silver key is a pain in the, we have to trust Tesla, and let's hold our judgment until we see real people in these real vehicles, as and when they are released into the wild. So that about does it for this week's Tesla Time podcast. Episode 6 is wrapped up. Episode 7 will be next week, and don't forget episode 8, the week after that, we will bring you all the news, rumours and gossip from the earnings call. And like I say, I'll be clipping it and cutting it together, so you'll be able to hear Elon's opening monologue. Hopefully we'll hear Franz speak as well. But for now, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for your emails and comments and reviews online. Like, I really, really do appreciate it. It's great to see the Tesla community coming together and supporting a venture like this. I really do appreciate it. Thank you to everyone. And until next time, we will see you next week. Stay safe, everybody. Peace.